What's up, everybody? Thanks for clicking this video. Thanks for tuning into my channel. My name's Simon Hill, Black American from Louisiana, coming to you live from Budapest, Hungary. Today is April 6th, 2024. And yeah, just came back from the office, taught some classes, got a lot of work to do today, trying to live stream as much as I can. Andre Beja just jumped into the chat. He said, hi. Hello, Andre. Shout out to you, wherever you are, whoever you are. And yeah, today I'm going to be chopping it up about some hip hop. We're going to talk some hip hop today. I came home, opened up YouTube, and saw the news that J. Cole apologized. He backtracked. He's backpedaling now on that 7-minute drill disc that he dropped to Kendrick Lamar on that mixtape he released a few days ago, Might Delete Later, right? I checked out the mixtape as soon as it dropped, and it was actually fire. I thought it was actually better than his last album, and I hope the Fall Off album that comes out later will actually be, better than that, or at least meet that, because Might Delete Later is actually fire to me. I actually really, really like it. A lot of great songs on there, a lot of great verses. Shout out to Cameron for showing up and showing out. And I actually thought 7-minute drill was actually pretty fire. Andre Beja jumped into the chat. He said, remember me? And I said, yes, I do, Andre. I do remember you. I think you're an Albanian guy in Kosovo. And hopefully you have some input to give in on this hip hop topic today. But yeah, I saw the news about J. Cole apologizing, and I watched the video before turning on this live stream. And I was just disappointed, man, because you know what? The big three right now, Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole, right? Nobody expects these guys to do like drive-by shootings and murder each other. Nobody's expecting these guys to get into fist fights over it. Nobody's taking it that seriously. We would like to see the competition in hip hop. We would like to see the big three go at it because it's entertainment, right? It's like wrestling, right? Everybody just wants to see these dudes, put their pens to work and see who can really come out on top in a battle. Now, I think, honestly, no matter what happens in the battle, Drake will still be on top because Drake's name is just synonymous with music and pop music, right? And J. Cole and Kendrick, from my experience being abroad, going out and talking to different people, their names don't ring as much as Drake's name. Drake is an international superstar. He is an icon, right? Kendrick, and to a lesser extent, J. Cole, they're known by a younger demographic, people who are more in tuned into music. But if we're talking about, the grandmas, moms, regular, everyday 9 to 5 people in different parts of the world, they don't really know. J. Cole and Kendrick like that. Gonna jump into the comments. Andre Beja says, yes, I love you as a friend. Okay, shout out to Andre Beja. I love you too, man. But yeah, so I was just disappointed to see J. Cole do this. But I think J. Cole is coming at this at a different angle, and a lot of people aren't going to be receptive to it, right? I'm going to read this article from Complex, and then I'm going to give my take on the whole Kendrick and Drake situation, because I feel like deep down inside, Kendrick has always sort of been jealous of Drake's success and jealous of who Drake is. And we're going to be analyzing that through the lyrics of a song. But let's jump into this article. J. Cole feels bad for dissing Kendrick Lamar on 7-minute drill. Lame and terrible, he says. Cole raised the white flag during his Dreamville Festival in North Carolina. This was written by Abel Schifferah. By the way, Abel, from far away, he looks like Kendrick. Looks like Kendrick and Big Sean had a baby. I know what side of the war he's on. But anyway, this was published on April 8th, 2024. Here is a picture. Rappers J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar perform at Madison Square Garden on January 28th, 2014 in New York City. So these are the, two of the three-headed dragon that is hip hop right now. And yeah, J. Cole and Kendrick have always had a better relationship than Kendrick has had with Drake. In the past, Kendrick and Drake did collaborate, but I believe it was only on one song. Meanwhile, J. Cole and Kendrick have collaborated numerous times, and there was even rumors that these two would be releasing an album together, though that never transpired. J. Cole said he feels regret over his 7-minute drill diss track that he released in response to Kendrick Lamar's fiery Like That warning shot during the Dreamville Festival in North Carolina. I've been happy. I've been moving on my own accord. Now, why am I saying all of that? Cole said during his set at the festival on Sunday. I put out this project on Friday called Might Delete Later. I don't know how many people checked it out or whatever. A projected 140,000 to 160,000. Okay. I don't know if it was for sale. I don't know where they got those numbers, or if it was put up on streaming services. So that way they're going to get the data. But either way, it probably got a lot of plays because J. Cole has a very ardent fan base, a very large fan base. People love J. Cole. Like, J. Cole has not been my top five ever, but I can appreciate his lyricism and his pen game. But I feel like generally he's like the poor man's watered down version of Kendrick, or just a more lyrically advanced Common, in my opinion. He's not touching Lupe Fiasco. He's not touching Nas. To some degree, you could argue Kendrick has surpassed Nas with the pen game. I know that might be controversial to some people. And Drake has, while not surpassing anybody lyrically, right? Drake's pen does get busy, and he's in a different category. Like, Drake is up there with like the Snoops and the LL Cool J's when it comes to like impact and how many people like love his music and love what he's done with the art form, or either have strong opinions about what he's done with the art form. But the important thing about being a celebrity or a musician, it's not about being good, it's about being polarizing, right? Andrew Beja says he misses Juice World. I wish Juice World was still around too. There's a great song on DJ Khaled's album. I believe it's Father of Assad or God Did. I forgot which one, but it's Juice World Did is the title of the song. And I really like that song too, because it sort of makes me sad hearing Juice World's jovial voice over that bouncy beat, but he's not here to celebrate with Khaled and stuff like that. Check out that song if you haven't heard it. It's called Juice World Did. I also like this song he did called Lean With Me. Lean With Me is a very dope Juice World song too. Anyway, continuing here. J. Cole says, I swear to God, I'm so proud of that project because I know, one, it's just an EP that leads me to this thing that I've been working on for a long time. And I know the work it took to get to a certain type of skill level. That shit means a lot to me. I'm so proud of that project, except for one part, he added, referencing his diss to Kendrick. Okay. All right. See, this is what we cannot do in hip hop. You cannot back down. You cannot back down from a battle, especially in a battle between a bunch of nerds. Let's keep it real. Kendrick, J. Cole, Drake, these are a bunch of nerds. Like, we're in the post-Kanye era of hip hop, where basically rappers are not expected to be tough. They're not expected to be super gangster. Nobody's expecting, J. Cole to be able to, put up them dukes and catch fades with Kendrick. Nobody's expecting Drake to do that. But yet and still, these guys feel like to some degree, like they still have to apologize. Like, why would you apologize, J. Cole? Anyway, so Andre Beja says, hey, Simon, I'm sorry, but I have to go. I love the content. Shout out to you, Andre. I know I'm doing this live stream at a weird time of the day. It's like 11 a.m. on a Monday. Some people might be at work. Some people might catch this later on the stream. I don't do my streams for views or attention. I do them because I actually love it. I actually love talking about these topics, building with the people, and seeing what people gravitate to. So that's why. But catch you later, Andre, if you have to go. So J. Cole addresses beef with Kendrick Lamar and speaks on the making of 7 Minute Drill at Dreamville Fest. I felt conflicted because I'm like, bruh, I know I don't really feel a way, but the world want to see blood. So I say all of that to say, in spirit of trying to get this. Cole's full statement is right here. I will not be playing it because I don't want a copyright strike. Plus, you won't be able to hear it through the streamer that I'm using anyway. I'm doing, OBS with the video capture option, not audio capture. Anyway, J. Cole speaks on 7 Minute Drill. We're taking that song off effing streaming services. All right. So he continued, it's one part of that ish that makes me feel like, man, that's the lamest ish I ever did in my effing life. Right. And I know this is not what a lot of people want to hear. I can hear my niggas up here right now, like, nah, don't do that. But I got to keep it 100 with y'all. I damn near had a relapse, right? Because y'all heard some shit that happened 2 or 3 weeks ago, however long it was. Y'all heard that bazooka that was dropped on the mother effing game. So I want to break down this comment. I don't know what he means by relapse. Was J. Cole on drugs? Or does he mean he's relapsing into his old form or into his old self? Because J. Cole has never been confrontational. This is the first time he's ever dissed a rapper, at least as far as I know. Sure, there might have been subliminal shots to Kendrick or Drake in the past, but he never did it as blatantly as this. And J. Cole right now has been rapping very aggressively. He's starting to turn somewhat into a high-level gangster rapper because right now Kendrick, Drake, and J. Cole are all rapping about sticks and extendos and airing out the block and spinning the block and all that sort of stuff. Like, it's crazy. Like, these nerd-ass rappers who came into the game saying different sorts of content than the Meek Mills and Beanie Siegels and Young Jeezys and Rick Ross. Now they're sort of turning into these gangster rappers with their attitude and their lyrics and their bars and stuff like that. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why they're making this heel turn, but I guess it's, once you've reached a certain level of money, fame, notoriety, there's only so much you can rap about. So now they're resorting to other forms. And listen, I don't think you don't have to actually live your gangster raps if you're actually rapping gangster stuff, because it's wordplay and stuff like that. But I just find it odd, because I feel like J. Cole's powers could be used for better. I mean, he is somewhat regarded as a socially conscious, aware MC. So why doesn't he use that to talk about so many of the issues that are going on today? But maybe he doesn't want to alienate his base, right? Because everything now is becoming partisan, political, and maybe people just want to turn on music and not hear all that sort of stuff. But continuing here, he said it's the lamest thing he ever did. I actually thought this was one of the coolest things he ever did. It made me check out what. First and foremost, the mixtape that he dropped, the Might Delete Later, it made me want to check it out. And then secondly, it was actually pretty hard. A lot of people are saying like 7 Minute Drill was not lyrically hard, or the beat wasn't that impressive. I liked it overall. Is it the greatest diss track of all time? No, of course not. But it was actually pretty decent. I actually liked J. Cole's diss to Kendrick. It went pretty damn hard. So Cole went on with his comment. He said, so all this time of me moving on my own accord, for the first time I was tested. Why am I tested? Because I got the world and I got my niggas like, what you gonna do, Cole? Boy, I must have had 1,000 missed calls on my oh my fucking god, text flooded. I couldn't answer my shit. Niggas, it's wartime. Niggas want to see blood, and I was conflicted because, one, I know my heart, I know how I feel about my peers. These two niggas that I've been blessed to stand beside in this game, let alone chase their greatness. So I felt conflicted because, like, bruh, I don't really feel no way, but the world want to see blood. I don't know if y'all feel that, but the world want to see blood. Now I get where J. Cole is coming from, right? Because he's getting all this pressure from his homies who are texting him like, yo, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? But the thing about the Like That verse, I don't think Kendrick sent any shots to J. Cole. All he did was flip J. Cole's bar. Fuck the big three, nigga. It's just me, right? And that's a reference to J. Cole's bar from First Person Shooter. Like, it's the big three: Kendrick, Jake, and me. Like, we started a league or something like that, right? But I didn't think that J. Cole was on the clock. Nobody was saying like, oh man, when's J. Cole gonna respond to the Like That verse? People are waiting for the Drake response. In my opinion, in my conspiratorial opinion, I think Drake sent out J. Cole on that dummy mission, like to crash out. Because I think J. Cole and Drake have been on tour together. They're on stage together. So J. Cole's, interest financially are tied to Drake's success. And so Kendrick out here dissing the rapper who's on tour might hurt Drake's, tour sales or ticket sales. That might be Drake's logic, though. I think for the public, it might be the reverse. Like, more people would pay to go see Drake, see if he's going to respond to Kendrick on stage. If Drake sent J. Cole out there to, test the waters, to throw shots at him, and to let Kendrick know that if he's going to war with Drake, like, Drake's got shooters on deck. And in this case, the number one shooter for Drake is going to be J. Cole, which is, like going up against one of the mafia's top hitmen. You get what I'm saying? Because I feel like the thing about Drake, I feel like he could actually win this battle with J. Cole. I mean, with Kendrick. Drake could win the battle with Kendrick because, first and foremost, Drake has already been exposed. We know about the porn star girlfriend. We know about the kid that he was hiding from the world. Pusha T put everything out there. We know about the ghostwriter accusations. Meek put everything out there. There's nothing really about Drake that can be exposed more. So in the diss track that Kendrick would release, it would probably be a lot of shots at, Drake, going pop, forgetting his roots, maybe a few more jabs at Drake for having a ghostwriter and that sort of stuff, because in hip hop, that's still a big taboo, and that will permanently haunt Drake forever. Even though Drake's pen is still very sharp, like, we got to admit, Drake still be spitting for real, for real. But I really think Drake would actually win in that battle with Kendrick, because Drake would have the ability to expose Kendrick. I'm sure Drake has a bunch of inside knowledge about who this man is. And Kendrick, meanwhile, has been running around jumping from Hebrew Israelite to, woke Black Lives Matter protester to Jesus on stage wearing a diamond crown of thorns and stuff like that. Drake has a lot of ammo to work with on Kendrick, but Kendrick might not have the same in reverse. Now, I don't know if Kendrick has a lot of insider knowledge and stuff like that. If Drake or if J. Cole might have whispered something in Kendrick's ear about who Drake really is and stuff like that. I don't know. It could get really messy. But at this point of the battle, it does not look like it would get violent or dirty or bloody. So there was no reason for J. Cole to jump out there and apologize. Kendrick is from Compton and he is affiliated to some degree, but I don't think Kendrick would sick his goons out on J. Cole. I don't think J. Cole was threatened by, Compton Pyrus or whatever set Kendrick is affiliated with. Nothing like that. It's pretty tamed. I also think J. Cole is the type of person who is operating on a different plane. He's not like us base hip hop heads who just want to see blood, who just want to see black men tear each other down. And if J. Cole dropped that part of his statement as if he said, you know what, I respect these two black brothers and we as black men should be unified, especially when we're at the top of our game. Why are we dissing each other like what the other side, like the man wants us to do? Why are we hurting each other when we could elevate each other? We could make more money together going on tour, making a collab album, making songs together than we will tearing each other down. I think that's also where J. Cole is operating, because these past few years, J. Cole has grown out his light-skinned, knotty dreads and has tried to reenact or bring back the image of Bob Marley. So maybe he's more on this peace tip than he is on that war tip. But I'm just saying, you could still be on the peace tip because Nas and Jay-Z patched it up. Every rapper who ever had beef in the past pretty much patched it up, except 50 and Ja. Everybody's patched it up, worked together, and now they're making bread together. So y'all could have done the same. But J. Cole, you could have just made it entertaining for hip hop heads, because J. Cole, if you were one of us, if you were just on the outside looking in, you would say, damn, this is awesome. This is great. This is breathing new energy into hip hop, because we haven't had a battle of this magnitude in a long time, right? But maybe J. Cole is also seeing the writing on the wall. Megan Thee Stallion and Nicki Minaj went at it this year. And I think also some other female rappers are always having like little catty beefs and stuff like that. So maybe he's seeing like more division in hip hop than there is unity. So why bring more division into hip hop, and let's bring unity at least at the top? I think that's a point also maybe J. Cole was trying to get at. I don't know. Gonna continue here. So Cole then referenced Kendrick directly by name and labeled his response a misstep that he classified as being quote unquote lame. Y'all love Kendrick Lamar, correct? As do I. So I just want to come up here and publicly be like, bruh, that was one of the lamest, goofiest shit. And I say all that to say it made me feel like 10 years ago when I was moving incorrectly. And I pray that God will line me back up with my purpose and my path. I pray that my niggas didn't feel no way. And if he did, I pray that my nigga, meaning Kendrick, didn't feel no way. And if he did, my nigga, meaning Kendrick, I got my chin out. Take your best shot. I'm going to take that shit on the chin, boy. Do what you do. All good. It's love. And I pray that y'all are like, forgive a nigga. Oh, God, this is so cringe. It's love. And I pray that y'all are like, forgive a nigga for the misstep. I can't get back to my true path. I can get back to my truth path, because I ain't going to lie to y'all. The past 2 days felt terrible. It probably sounds better when you listen to the audio because it makes more sense. And here I am trying to read a transcript of nigganese. So the language is not translating. I can speak nigganese, but it's hard to read nigganese. Anyway. At this point, Kendrick does not have to respond because J. Cole, you ethered yourself. The last thing I would want to hear now is Kendrick respond to this. And if he did respond, it will be like kicking a man while he's down. What you're probably going to get, J. Cole, is Drake will eventually have to respond to Kendrick in some way. And depending on the magnitude, whether Drake goes full song or just a few sneak bars here and there, depending on the magnitude, Kendrick will probably reference you like, oh, they pop shit and apologize, like ask why or something like that. Like that's all Kendrick will throw your way. But after that, it's going to be, you'll be fine, J. Cole, but the public will look at you a certain way. I could not say that J. Cole is top 3 now after apologizing to Kendrick. He cannot be top 3 anything. You cannot be top 3 anything when you pop shit and apologize. And meanwhile, in your other verses, you talking to like, I'll ether these rappers, I'll send these rappers. I really liked his mixtape Might Delete Later because he was really talking aggressive. Like the thing about hip hop, that makes it special is this is the one art form where black men are able to puff out their chests, be as macho and bravado as you can be, and there are no repercussions. As black men, you can't just go into the office and be like, I'm the best. You can't just walk up to, white folks or in other parts of society and say, I'm the best. The only parts where we can puff out our chests and be full men and all the toxicity or masculineness is in sports or hip hop. After that, like, we're constantly walking on eggshells. If a black man gets too proud or too boastful, you'll be killed. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, any other black man you can think of who tried to fight for our liberation and our freedom, they've been killed. Nat Turner. Let's think about it. Why was Obama so neutered? Why was Obama moving around like he didn't have testicles? Why was Obama always speaking with a low, subdued tone and never showed emotion? It's because Obama knew as a black man he could not be the president of America and expect to live if he ever became that angry black man or that macho black man. The most boastful thing Obama ever said was at the end of his term. He said, if I ran for a third term, I could probably win. And the right-wing media tore him up. They said, look at this African who wants to be a dictator in America. Same thing here. Like J. Cole, you have the opportunity. You had the opportunity right here to really puff out your chest and make your claim be known, right? Nas didn't apologize for Ether, even though he was talking hella reckless against Jay-Z. Jay-Z apologized for what he said on Super Ugly because his mama called up on the radio and said, boy, don't you ever talk about leaving condoms in a baby seat and stuff like that. Jay-Z apologized, and that's how Jay-Z lost the battle, honestly, because I'll keep it real. Like, he could have came back. Super Ugly was hard. After Nas dropped Ether and Jay-Z dropped Super Ugly, it was hard, right? And I actually think Jay-Z's response to Nas on Blueprint 2, it's the Blueprint 2, baby, oh, behave, like, that second verse where he really starts breaking down who Nas is, like talking about kick knowledge, like the rap version of TD Jakes, all that sort of stuff. Can't you tell on his CDs he's fake? When Jay-Z was talking that talk to Nas, I actually thought he could have came back and won. If he brought that same Blueprint 2 verse to Nas right after Ether, we might look at Nas differently. We might never be saying that somebody got ethered, really. But, you know, that's an alternate timeline. In reality, how Jay-Z lost to Nas is because he apologized to Nas after Super Ugly dropped. And J. Cole, you've lost not only this battle with Kendrick, but you've lost the respect of a lot of hip hop fans. I know you're probably thinking that, you know, you want to see unity among black men. You want to be on your path towards peace and enlightenment and reach Buddhahood like Bob Marley or something like that. But, man, it's just entertainment. It's just entertainment, man. And J. Cole, you talk like you're the common man, like you're the every guy's, you know, hip hop fan and stuff like that. When deep down inside, you are not built like that. You are not built like that. We don't want to hear no more tough guy bars talking about extendos or, you know, Luigi's brother. None of that. We don't want to hear none of that. Anyway, continuing here. Cole then played Love Yours after raising the white flag in his back and forth with Kendrick. Oh my God. Pussy. Who really knows when the Cold War between J. Cole and Drake on one side and Kendrick on the other started? But there's been an untold amount of subliminals in the past years. Things kicked up a notch when the release of First Person Shooter, which featured mentions of the so-called Big Three that Mr. Morale took offense to. So here's First Person Shooter. You can stream that song. On Metro Boomin and Future's We Don't Trust You Like That. On the track Like That from Metro Boomin and Future's We Don't Trust You album, Kendrick rapped, think I won't drop the location. I still got PTSD. Motherfuck the Big Three, nigga. It's just big me. Nigga bum. What? I'm really like that. And you best work is light pack. Nigga Prince outlived Mike Jack. Nigga bum. For all you, nigga bum. Okay. For all you dogs getting buried, that's a K with all these nines. We gonna see Pet Cemetery. I need to see the film Pet Cemetery. I've heard that's a great horror film. But anyway, I want to talk about the PTSD line because nobody really brings this up, but it's been rumored that Kendrick actually caught a body. And I believe he's dropped hints to him catching a body as a young man in a couple of his bars. There's a YouTube video about that. Just type in Kendrick Lamar homicide, Kendrick Lamar catch a body, Kendrick Lamar gang affiliation on YouTube and find some videos that bring that up. I've seen some of these on my feed. And I think there is some believability in the truth. So when Kendrick released Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, the therapy album, and he's talking about PTSD throughout it, I'm like, what does he have PTSD about other than possibly him, you know, committing some heinous crime back in the day where he caught a body and got off or something like that, or the truth was hidden from public and stuff like that. I don't think it was about his lesbian aunts. My auntie is a man now. I don't think that's where the PTSD came from. You get what I'm saying? So I think that possibly might be a reason why J. Cole is apologizing, because he knows like Kendrick is really like trigger fingers. Like he is maybe he's scared because of that. But either way, Kendrick is not at this point in his career and his life where he's going to waste millions of dollars, clapping somebody over rap bars. So maybe J. Cole needs to chill about apologizing, right? As far as the Prince outlived Mike Jack line, I thought that was interesting because I guess you can make the comparison that Kendrick is the eccentric true artist and Mike Jack was like an industry plant creation, and Drake is more akin to Mike Jack, and Kendrick is more akin to Prince. I can kind of see that, but I do think both of them sort of inhabit the Mike Jack sort of territory because they are very big megastars, right? Though Drake is much, much bigger than Kendrick globally and popularity wise. I think Kendrick, to some degree, does inhabit some of those things because Kendrick be dancing on stage. Drake don't be dancing on stage. Kendrick be doing them, military moves with his Rhythm Nation backup dancers and stuff like that. I also think Kendrick also does a lot of imagery in his music, like how Mike Jack did. Kendrick be singing in his songs like Drake does, like Mike Jack does. So I think there is some parallels here. Continuing here. So Cole brought out several people during his Dreamville set, including Central C, Boss, Omen, and Lil Yachty, and others. So J. Cole and Lil Yachty performed The Secret Recipe. You can catch that video here. Every artist J. Cole brought out during his set at Dreamville. Who writes like this? Okay, I know they're up in the moment, like tweeting, but come on, man. So he brought out Jeremiah Black, Benny the Butcher, Lil Yachty, Boss, Loot, Omen, Cause, Earth Gang, Central C, and Lil Durk. Central C had a very dope verse on the J. Cole project, might delete later. I forgot the name of the song, but it was hard. It was actually hard. So yeah, that's the story right here of Kendrick and J. Cole going at it, right? Now, I'm not going to rehash the Like That verse because at this point, it's about 2 weeks old. Everybody's heard it, read it, analyzed it, jumped into different points. But I haven't seen anybody bring up the lyrics of Buried Alive. And I'll be honest, this song is from Take Care, Drake's second album, right? And it's a song that only has Kendrick rapping on this haunting beat that I believe was produced by 40, because 40 produces a lot of Drake songs, right? And the story goes, from my understanding, is that Drake sent this song to Kendrick to hop on, like to collaborate, right? And Kendrick sent it back with this monstrous, long 32-bar verse and stuff like that. Now, in hip-hop, because I used to be a former rapper myself, and I used to collaborate with people like sending songs via emails and stuff like that. In hip hop, in my opinion, it's somewhat disrespectful. It can be taken as disrespect if you send somebody a beat or a track and they just make that track their own by dropping an extra long verse plus a chorus and stuff like that, right? So I'm thinking that Drake probably saw that from Kendrick and took it as being a sign of endearment, as in this is a positive thing. So Kendrick sends back this very long, very powerful verse over this very haunting beat from 40 and is like, here, Drake. And Drake says, wow, that's amazing. Because at the time, Drake was much, much bigger than Kendrick, and Kendrick was still on the rise. I don't even think Good Kid, Mad City dropped yet around the time Take Care dropped. So Drake was like looking to get this new hot up-and-coming lyricist from the West Coast on his album, because Drake's thing is he wants to, just consume anything that's popping and put it on his projects, right? That's why he does Jamaican patois. That's why he moved to the UK and started doing like, roadman music and stuff like that. So he wanted to get Kendrick on his album, and Kendrick comes back with this. Drake took it as a sign of endearment, but I think Kendrick, this is my hypothesis, Kendrick did it as sort of a challenge to Drake's pen, and almost a slight sign of like testing the waters and a slight sign of disrespect too. Because I'm a failed rapper. I'm on live stream now with 2 people in the chat. I get 40 views per video. I'm nobody. But I feel like I'm the same age as Drake, Kendrick, and J. Cole generally. I used to rap like them. I was in a similar vein, not gangster, just rapping about my life and stuff like that. And I was lyrical as hell too. And if you don't believe me, go check out my music, topbillion.bandcamp.com, right? When you get other people on your songs and they're spitting heavy, that's a challenge to you, because you never want to get washed on your own songs. And the thing about rap is the longer you rap, usually more likely people are to say that verse is hard, right? Like when Lil Wayne jumped on a song back in the day, like on We Taking Over, and he drops like 24 bars and everybody else spitting 8 or 16, people said Wayne killed the song. Jay-Z recently did this with the God Did verse. Jay-Z dropped a 4-minute freestyle at the end of God Did, and everybody's like, oh my God, it's the greatest whole verse of all time. Kendrick did the same thing on Buried Alive. And I have a tweet on my Twitter where I say, this is my favorite Drake song, meaning it's a joke. It's a joke. It's not a Drake song because it's only Kendrick, right? But I think Drake wanted to get Kendrick on the song, on his album. He took it as a sign of endearment, and he wanted to give Kendrick that boost, that shine, that love. You get what I'm saying? Meanwhile, Kendrick was doing it to steal the show. Kendrick was doing it to steal the show, outshine Drake, and manipulate Drake. Because he could then say, oh, if Drake didn't put Buried Alive on the album, he could say Drake's trying to hate on me. Or Drake didn't hop on Buried Alive because I bodied him and I got the first verse. So Drake was sort of like in a weird position with Buried Alive. I might be rewriting the history. Some people might say that's absolutely not what happened based on interviews of what they said. But I'm going to tell y'all this. Drake is never going to come out into an interview, at least back in the day, and say, yeah, Kendrick was trying to wash me, but I put it on my album because, there was no way for me to get out of the situation. Hell no. Hell no. He put it out on this long-ass album, which is Take Care, which is a classic, by the way. And this song helped make it a classic. I'm sorry I'm ranting, but I'm just trying to paint this picture here from how I view this. Because I believe the first shots in the Drake and Kendrick war began with Buried Alive. This is my opinion. And we're going to read this. We're going to see this here when we read the lyrics, right? So, if you was in a pine box, I would surely break the lock. I jump right in and fall asleep. I fall asleep because you are the death of me, because you are the death of me. If you was in a pine box, I would surely break the lock. I jump right in and fall asleep. I fall asleep because you are the death of me, because you are the death of me. I don't think there's anything here that needs to be interpreted because Kendrick is weird, so he'll just say a phrase over and over again, and also in the weird alien auto-tune voice, just to make it different, exotic, eccentric, stuff like that. If you was in a pine box, I mean, if we were to interpret it, he's talking about dying for somebody, living for somebody, saying that this person's life matters just as much as his, and he would do anything to keep that person around with him. Okay, maybe you could interpret that, extrapolate that to mean he's talking about Drake or talking to Drake, but I don't think that relationship or that bond was that strong at the beginning where he was talking about he would break into a pine box and break this person out from the coffin. So anyway, the first verse goes, looking in the mirror, I'm embarrassed. I'm feeling like a suicidal terrorist. React like an infant whenever you are mentioned. Mind over matter, never worked for my nemesis. Okay. Let's think about this. Looking in the mirror, I'm embarrassed. I'm feeling like a suicidal terrorist. So he's looking at himself in the mirror and feels let down by what he sees. And because he feels so let down, he feels so dismayed, he's ready to crash out and blow himself up. And this line reminds me of that song Kendrick did called Black Boy Fly. And in that song, he's talking about the jealousy he feels for some guy from Compton who became a professional NBA player, and he's able to fly out of the hood and leave the hood behind. He talks about how he was jealous of Jayceon Taylor, aka The Game, the big rapper from Compton who exploded with 50 Cent and G Unit in the early 2000s and sort of single-handedly resurrected the West Coast. So Kendrick has always exhibited some sort of jealous nature to other rappers and to other people who are successful, especially around him. So when he says, I'm embarrassed looking at myself and I feel like a suicidal terrorist, I feel like he is speaking out loud about how he feels inferior around Drake. I'm going to keep it real, and we're going to see this more in the verse. React like an infant whenever you are mentioned. So he acts like a child whenever Drake, I'm going to read into this, Drake is mentioned. He feels like a jealous, impotent, impatient child. Mind over matter, never worked for my nemesis. That's a deep line. So if Drake is his nemesis, he can never just think himself out of, don't be jealous, don't be anti-Drake, just try to collaborate with him, work with him. He can't do that. He can't bring himself to do that because Kendrick will always be jealous of Drake. At least that's what he's writing here, how I'm seeing it. I'm in the matter of a man, arm wrestling hands I was dealt. When I said the music business was all I needed, when I got it, I was greeted by an alien that said last year that she slept with a Canadian, that gave him an addiction that keep him in a Mercedes-Benz. Let's really break that down. So, if in the first part, he's not talking about Drake, he's talking about a woman who slept with Drake. He slept with her too. And then he is trying to keep up with Drake. He's trying to keep up with Drake by sleeping with the girls that Drake slept with. I know the industry is incestuous. Some people are saying that Metro Boomin and Future got beef with Drake because they're fighting over strippers, and Drake is notorious for sticking his dick in anything, then putting the hot sauce in the condom afterwards. All these stories we've heard about Drake. This is one way of interpreting it. I could also see that the alien or third person could still be fame. It could be metaphorically. He could be talking about fame. I'm in the matter of man, arm wrestling, hands I was dealt when I said the music business was all I needed. He's wrestling with himself about what his desires were. He wanted to be in the business. He wanted to be a rapper. He wanted to be successful. When I got it, I was greeted by an alien. Now, you could interpret this as a woman, or you could actually interpret this as fame, meaning fame, notoriety, or access to the music industry that slept that last year said she slept with the Canadian. So he's saying like a year before, Fame slept with this Canadian who is Drake and made him successful and gave him an addiction that kept him in the Mercedes-Benz. So Drake is now addicted to fame and all that and all the pluses that it brings that keeps him, driving exotic cars. Bright lights and Rihanna as a lady friend. My vice is similar. Women love when you're my type and you're winning from everything that your palm right. Put her in the Palms Hotel, Sin City, Devil in a Dress, Platinum Chanel. Live the ambiance all because the audience one day said I would do it. So instead of a verse being read, I'm going to go and get some head off the strength of my music. Okay. So once again, fame or notoriety, metaphorically, has infected Drake, made him best friends with Rihanna. My vice is similar. I think the shot at Rihanna, I don't know. Well, at the time, Drake and Rihanna were still semi-cool because they did that song "Take Care" on the album "Take Care." So Rihanna and Drake were like still in cahoots and stuff like that. I do think bringing up Rihanna might have been a touchy point for Drake because Drake and Rihanna dated briefly, but I think they sort of broke up around that time. But bringing up Rihanna might permanently be sort of like a touching point because I do think Drake sort of lusted after Rihanna for a long time. I'm throwing my theories out there. So Kendrick saying this might have been like a touchy point, right? Just bringing that name up. You get what I'm saying? My vice is similar. So he's admitting that he has similar vices to Drake's. He loves women. He loves success. He loves when women are fawning over him because of what his palm writes, being up in fancy hotels, meeting women who are scandalous and salacious and seductive in nature, devils in a new dress. They wear platinum Chanel perfume and stuff like that. So instead of writing more verses, sometimes he takes time off to go and sleep with these beautiful women who are falling all over him. Okay. So I tell a bad bitch, yo ass too fat, capitalize that, and your weave look good with the Indian tracking device on your used 5 Series. I don't call back, just blame it on your Canadian. The same day we say we were in the area, cruising in Toronto, hit me on the cellular, thought he was going to sell me a false word like the rappers I know. Okay. So once again, he's hollering at, beautiful women, complimenting them on their like exotic sewn in hair and stuff like that. A tracking device on your used 5 Series. Okay. I don't know what he's trying to say here. Like he's following his women, monitoring his women and stuff like that. I don't know. Drake on this same album on Take Care, he has a song with Rick Ross where he's talking about looking through women's purses. So is he saying he's trying to inhabit or do the same sort of like vices and bad habits that Drake does with his girls, looking through their phones, being possessive, looking through their purses and stuff like that? I don't call back. Just blame it on your Canadian. Okay. So I don't know exactly what he's saying here. Like, is he trying to blame Drake for how he's acting towards his women? Is he trying to blame Drake for this new impulsive, wicked way he's acting in the world now that he's achieved rap success because he's modeling Drake's behavior? The same day we were in the area cruising in Toronto. So he's in Toronto, he's in Drake City, and he gets a call from Drake, saying come through and work with him. But Kendrick is apprehensive at first because he thinks Drake is going to be another fake rapper. The guys who call up and say, let's collaborate, let's work together, and then they never do nothing, right? So sat down with a few drinks, located where you can't see us. A white waitress on standby when we need her. A black Maybach, 40 pulled up Jeep, no doors. All that nigga was missing was Aaliyah. Okay, so everybody knows Drake loves Aaliyah. right? And he's very fond of Aaliyah, right? And the reference to Aaliyah and Jeeps is that, you know, in a lot of Aaliyah's old videos, she used to pull up with the Jeeps with no doors, right? Because that was the style in the 90s. But I also think Drake, you know, Kendrick mentioning Aaliyah in this case is letting Drake know, hey, I know a lot about you, man. I think not even casual rap fans would have picked that up. That like, oh, the Aaliyah reference is referencing one of Drake's favorite artists, right? I don't think anybody would have caught that. And I think Kendrick was saying that to let Drake know, hey, I got some info on you, I got the intel on you, I got the drop on you. That's what I'm thinking, man. And also mentioning the cars, I might be reading too deep into this, but I've always thought about this song and like, why is Kendrick going so hard in detail writing about Drake? It comes across as very Big Brotherish. Big Brother, not in like uh, the Orwellian novel. I'm talking about Big Brother like the Kanye song. Like you can interpret Big Brother as being a diss to Jay-Z too, right? Because he's making Jay-Z seem very callous, unforgiving, selfish, and that sort of stuff. Maybe you can see it that way too. Jumping into the comments, Craig Mass says, not my kind of topic. However, I'll show my support. Catch you on the next live. Okay, I'm just throwing out different ideas right here. Anyway, continuing here, felt like the initiation. Sorry, felt like the initiation, a reality, living in the matrix. We talk casually about the industry and how the women be the tastemakers for the shit we making. Then he said that he was on the same age as myself, and it didn't help because it made me even more rude and impatient. So blame it on Mr. OVO XO. Okay, so this is where I think it gets a bit nasty. And once again, I feel like this is very underhanded. So he's talking about, it feels like when he's meeting Drake for this first time, he feels like he's entering the doors of the industry. And he's talking about how him and Drake are having a conversation in chat about how women are the people that, you know, make songs popular. They're the ones who make the records hits and stuff like that. Because if the girls dance to it, the guys are going to buy it, right? And that sort of stuff. Then he said he was the same age as myself, and it didn't help because it made me even more rude and impatient. So this is where I think the jealousy jumps in, because he's seeing Drake have all this success and all these things around him, and Kendrick is sitting at the dinner table or lunch table with him, and they're having this conversation, and you know, Kendrick is feeling antsy, anxious, like he wants to be in the industry too. He wants to be in Drake's spot. So blame it on Mr. OVO XO, he continues. The reason why I'm breathing all the vanity I know. The reason why my best friend says she loved me more than life, but I live a double life and I need to let her go. So I don't think anybody would look at vanity, would look at leaving your friends behind, would look at cheating on your spouse or the people that, you know, were with you from day one as a positive thing. I've always looked at this line, and I remember this exactly when I first heard this song, that Kendrick was painting Drake out to be a villain in the way that he is leading Kendrick into a lifestyle that will only cause destruction for him. Women, sex, drugs, fancy cars, money, the pursuit of money that will make a person corrupt on the inside. And I think since then, Kendrick has tried to stray away from that, but he put this out there to say, hey guys, if I followed the path of your, you know, golden boy, if I followed the path of Mr. Six God, I would be a vain, egotistical fuckboy. Right? A lot of the negative criticism y'all have towards Drake, I could have followed that path if I went into the initiation, as he was talking about on Buried Alive, right? Which might be even deeper, right? Because he's saying that maybe Drake is buried alive under all this success, money, sex, access to women and foreign cars and fancy places and stuff like that. Because when you start talking about vanity, when you start talking about, you know, why you have to cut off your friends and stuff like that because you think they might be more interested in your money or your status than they are actually you. These are not positive things. These are not positive attributes. He didn't say, I met Drake and he taught me to stay true to hip hop and stay true to myself and keep my day ones around and don't follow these exotic Instagram thoughts and fly them out and stuff like that. No, he's saying the opposite. He's saying he met Drake and Drake is like trying to bring him into this lifestyle where all it is sex, money, drugs, and partying and being an asshole. That's what I'm interpreting this line as. That's how I'm interpreting this entire song. So I really think Kendrick has been throwing subtle shots. And of course, we're not even going to talk about Control, and everything that happened after Control. But I'm just putting this out here. I think people have not gone back into the history enough to really talk about Buried Alive. They sort of skip over this and say, oh, that was just a song where Kendrick and Drake were cool. I don't think they were ever cool. I don't think they were ever cool. Kendrick was never cool with Drake, in my opinion. Y'all go check out the song. Y'all tell me if I'm tripping. So the reason why I'm breathing all the vanity I know, the reason why my best friend say she loved me more than life, but I live a double life and need to let it go. The reason why the highlight was when he said, you belong to the people when you're outside. So dig a shovel full of money, full of power, full of pussy, full of fame, and bury yourself alive. Then I died. Think about that, man. Think about that. There is nothing positive about what Drake imparted to Kendrick here. He is not saying, dig yourself out of this hole. He said, bury yourself under pussy, fame, money. Bury yourself under all of that. Bury yourself alive. That is not a positive thing at all. Then he died. And I can think about that. Drake, you guys might think I'm reaching, but I got a lot of thoughts in my head and they're just all sort of coming out. But listen. Bury yourself alive, Drake is saying, but Kendrick died. So he died under all of that, and now he has come back resurrected as Jesus Christ with the thorns on his head. I'm just throwing it out there. These are wild conspiracy theories, but I'm just saying, this is my interpretation of this. Kendrick has always been jealous of Drake. He's always been throwing shots at Drake. He's never looked at Drake's success as something that needs to be emulated. He's always looked at what Drake has had as something that needs to be challenged. That is not the path forward for any, young man to go upon and stuff like that. And I think to some degree, J. Cole has recognized that too. They could have all easily been Drake. They could have all easily been Drake. They just had to make the certain pop songs, sing a few times, do those catchy choruses. J. Cole could do it. He's got plenty of pop songs. He's got songs that have tried to cross over, right? Kendrick can do it too. He's got hits on hits on hits, right? But Drake took it to the next level and was consistent about it and was always outside, dropping album after album, year after year, while Kendrick and J. Cole took years off. This is my interpretation of this. Kendrick has been jealous of Drake, but also at the time very critical of Drake. And nobody has analyzed Buried Alive enough. But that's all I really got to say about this topic. I really wanted to read some political stuff. Maybe I'll come back later today and do another live stream. But yeah, in this case, J. Cole shouldn't have apologized to Kendrick. This was bad player moves, not hip hop at all, not cool. But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section. Shout out to Craig Mack. Shout out to Andre Beja. Shout out to anybody watching this later, and peace.